It's clear the SEC really just wanted the ACC to feel better about themselves on night one. And then night two, here's the comeback. Good luck to you, ACC.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast. It is Wednesday, December 3rd. If you're on the East Coast, I guess it's technically already Thursday, December 4th. And we're coming to you live as most of Wednesday night's action is already over. I'm watching UCLA and Washington still ongoing in the second half right now, but everything else just about has wrapped up. So wanted to come at you, bring you all the Wednesday night's action for Thursday's show. I'm your host today, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your college basketball content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you so much for making us your first listen or watch here either late Wednesday night or to get your Thursday morning going the right way. Special shout out goes to all the everydayers out there and all the great members of the Locked On College Basketball Discord as well. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if that bet hits, you're going to win $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Download it and get started today. All right, Wednesday night was day 2 of the ACC-SEC Challenge. Night 1, the ACC led the way 6-3. There were 7 more games on Wednesday evening. I'll update you on that, and we'll talk about 3 of the games in the first segment and the other 4 in the second segment. And then we're going to wrap the night talking about the 3 Big Ten games that took place on Wednesday night. It was also the second night of Big Ten play, and we did have an upset and a brand new coach's first conference win. Great stuff there. Let's dive in first to the ACC-SEC Challenge. For those who might not remember, this is year 3 of the event. Year 1 was tied 7-7. Last year, the SEC won 14-2. Hence my the SEC just wanted the ACC to feel better. So night 1, 6-3, several underdogs that won for the ACC. And we were wondering, okay, is this happening again on Wednesday night? What's this going to look like? And it did not. The SEC wins Wednesday night 6-1, meaning they take the challenge 9-7. So clearly not last year's dominance, but a win is a win. And so the SEC is now 2-0-1 in this event. Will the ACC ever get there? We don't know. But I remember at the beginning of the ACC Big Ten Challenge, when that was a thing, the Big Ten never won. The ACC won the first 57 of those in a row. It was crazy. That obviously isn't what actually happened, but really, really crazy stuff. So the first big game of the night, and unless I'm missing it, the only game between 2 ranked teams of the night was number 6 Louisville at number 25 Arkansas, about an hour south of me, by the way, down in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Hogs win this thing 89-90. And man, just a great win for John Calipari's team. They looked good. I honestly thought Louisville would go on the road and handle this one, not with ease, but comfortably. But the second you saw that Nolan Richardson was in the house, famed former Arkansas head coach, national champion winning head coach, you knew it was over, right? There was no chance. And I love that in this game, you've got all these studs with Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, and they were great. They tied to be the second leading scorer for Arkansas, but it was the returner, the one guy that stuck around when John Calipari came over, Trayvon Brazile, that comes in and leads the way in this game for the Hogs over the Cards. 21 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3, 2 of 3, 5 rebounds, like a little bit of everything, a turnover, a block, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. Really, really good. Now, with Acuff and Thomas, man, they just keep doing it. 17 points for Acuff on 6 of 18 shooting, so not very efficient. 0 of 4 from 3, fine, whatever. 5 of 7, but 5 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 turnovers. So that's what 5-2. Yeah, 5-2 assist to turnover ratio. Math's hard late at night, you guys. Come on, bear with me. And so the thing for me in this game was that it wasn't like back and forth, and Arkansas just kind of pulled away by a couple possessions late. It was like Arkansas had this thing rolling. What was the biggest? Let me go see what the biggest lead they had. Yeah, I thought so. By 20. And that was early in the second half. Arkansas led by 20. And so I literally wrote in my notes as I was watching the games and getting everything going. I was like, can Louisville even cut into this? Like, could they get it down into the teens? Could they get it to single digits? And they did, much to their credit. They were down by 20 with 7:30 to go off a DJ Wagner 3. And then Louisville starts making a comeback. They get a little 5-8-0 run right there to get it down to 12. And, Arkansas kept pushing it back out. I think it got back to 16 as much. And then Louisville starts cutting into it, down to 9, down to 6, down to 5 at one point with about 8 minutes to go. And then they just kept trying. It stayed in that single digits most of the rest of the second half, but it really never got any close. It never got within a possession or anything like that where it was one of those games where, it got back down to single digits. And I think we all kind of assumed that would happen, right? Like Louisville is too good a team to get beat that bad. Yes, even on the road in a tough place to play. But it never felt, as you watched the game, if you're watching it, you know what I mean here. It never felt like Louisville was in any danger of winning, or I guess more appropriately, Arkansas was in any danger of losing. And so, just really impressive performance. Got out going. 5 different players in double digits for the Hogs. Impressive stuff there. And so the funny thing is Louisville actually led points in the paint, 42-34. But the issue, Louisville, who's going to take a bunch of threes, 8 of 37. That's 22%. That's not going to do it. That's just not going to do it. And so back to the drawing board for Louisville. But, heck, it's hard to go win on the road against a ranked team. Michael Brown, 22 points. Ryan Conwell had 15. He fouled out. Not an efficient shooting night for Conwell. 4 of 16, 3 of 12 from 3. Isaac McNeely wasn't, crazy efficient. He was better than Conwell, but still. And so just some struggles there. But Louisville's going to get it figured out. It's just, again, you go on the road and these things happen sometimes. Let's keep moving throughout the action. The next one I want to get to was another game with the crazy comeback, but this one came all the way back. Clemson was on the road at Alabama, number 12 in the nation, and the Tide win this thing 90-84. But here we go again. Alabama led this game by 19 with like 4:40-ish to go in the first half. Clemson came all the way. They just nicked and tucked and clawed all the way back in this thing. And it took a while. But by the time we got to toward the end of the second half, at 14 minutes in the second half, they already had it down to 2. But Alabama was able to keep them at bay most of the time. Clemson ties it, and eventually Clemson starts taking a lead. And they had a lead as it was just started flipping back and forth. Clemson had a 2-point lead with 2:40 to go. And at that point, I was like, man, they really might do this. At that point, they had just taken an 83-81 lead on an N1 by RJ Godfrey. The problem was, here comes LeBaron Philon back, gets his own and one. It's now 84-83. And Clemson only scored 1 more point. And so Alabama goes on this big run down the stretch of this basketball game. So after Clemson led 83-81, it's a 9-1 run to close this game for Alabama, who, by the way, let me remind you, was without Aiden Holloway, who unfortunately re-aggravated his wrist injury, was without Latrell Wrightsell. But the good news for Alabama is that for the first time, they got Jalil Bethea, the Miami transfer, in. He only played 6 minutes in this game, but you You just want to get guys out on the floor and an opportunity to play. And that's what they were able to do, Alabama, here in this stretch against Clemson. So nice fight, nice comeback from Clemson, similar to Louisville, but neither team is able to get it done. And the SEC secures both of those wins. The other game I want to quickly, actually, you know what? I'm going to save it and we're going to go to it in the second segment. We'll talk Auburn. We'll talk NC State. Stephen Pearl, man, they're starting to get a few things figured out down there on the plains. Our guy, JJ Jackson, the host of Locked On Blue Devils, was actually at this game tonight. Really, really good stuff by Stephen Pearl. And oh my, Kevin Overton, you, sir, just had a basketball game. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Aura Frames. The holidays, you guys, are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to actually share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload it with pictures before you even gift it. So when mom or dad or brother, sister plugs it in, the memories are already there. There's no apps to figure out. There's no setup headaches, just instant smiles and memories. So whoever you'd want to give that to, man, a great opportunity and a great, great gift. I love also that you can upload endless amounts of pictures and up to 30-second videos through the Aura app. You can add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's opened. And speaking of opened, the packaging comes gift ready. There's no price tag. There's no wrapping needed. Just a big, fat, huge win. So for a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. You can do that by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. And here's the cool news. This deal is exclusive to our listeners, and the frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays, and support the show by mentioning Locked On College Basketball at checkout. And you guys better be sure that terms and conditions apply. Woo pig suey indeed in the comments from Gary D5223. Nice big fat win. You know, John Calipari is a happy man tonight, as are his Hogs. Let's go elsewhere in the great state of Alabama, from Tuscaloosa over to Auburn, where the Tigers get an 83-73 win. Really nice there for Stephen Pearl and company. Auburn's up 41-35 at the break. They win the second half as well, 42-38. And let me see. It's just tough. I mean, you know, for NC State, it's been a little bit of a rough run here. Auburn and kind of going the other direction. Auburn up to 20th at KenPom. They lost to Houston. They got blitzed by Michigan at Players Era Festival. You know, the Houston loss was by 1. Fine, whatever. You know, there was the OT game against Bethune-Cookman. You're like, I don't know. But Auburn has played Houston to within 1. They beat Oregon, they beat St. John's, and now they beat NC State. And so, I mean, for Auburn, you feel good. You feel like you're going in the right direction. Now, they got to go to Arizona on Saturday. So let's check back in Saturday or on Monday show, and then we'll talk about how we're doing. But as for NC State, it's been tough. They've lost 3 of their last 4 going back to Maui. And that was a Maui field that I think they felt like, hey, we should be able to win this thing. But they lose to Seton Hall last Monday. Then they beat Boise State. They lose to Texas in a tough, it was 102-97. We'll get to Texas here in a little bit. And then they lose this game to Auburn. And really, I guess I should probably say they didn't lose it to Auburn. They lost it to Kevin Overton, because, oh my word, let me get to Kevin Overton's line here. 29 points on 8 of 13 shooting, 6 of 9 from 3, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds in 37 minutes. And when I say they lost it to Kevin Overton, maybe I should say they lost it to Kevin Overton and Keyshawn Hall. Why? Because Keyshawn Hall had 28 points on 9 of 14 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds, a nice little double-double there. He did have 6 turnovers. We just won't talk about that very much, and a steal. So these two dudes combined for 57 of Auburn's 83 points. I always love the math on stuff like that. So let's look at it. 57 divided by 83. That's 68.7% of Auburn's scoring tonight came from those two. Not much from Tahad Pettiford. He was 1 of 7. Not much from Keyshawn Murphy, the other Keyshawn. Elijah Freeman, 6 points. You got, 11 points off the bench in totality. So it's really Overton and Hall in this game. But hey, good grief, did they deliver? And they did it efficiently, right? 17 of 27 from the field. From three is even better. Holy cow. 11 of 16 is the math on that. That's crazy town. Great stuff for the Tigers, who just kind of led throughout this game, just kind of holding NC State at bay. As for the Tigers, you'll look, sorry, not the Tigers. As for the Wolfpack, Quadir Copeland had a really nice game here. Finished with 22 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6. Just not enough from the guys around him. Trey Holloman did have 16. Darian Williams, 11. That's the ACC preseason player of the year. Got to get more from him, right? So I don't know, for NC State, I do think they're going to get stuff figured out. What is their schedule coming up? They got UNC Asheville and Liberty, both winnable games. Then Kansas comes to Raleigh. I don't know what to make of that. Like, that's a 1.5 spread probably. I mean, that's going to be crazy. Maybe NC State is like minus 1.5 in that game. I'm really curious to see what we get there. NC State plays Ole Miss, and then they head into ACC play. So a couple other big-time games for NC State to kind of recapture what they hoped to have this season. All right, continuing on in this event, there were 2 teams in particular, one from each conference, that I'm really starting to like a little bit more of what I'm seeing from them. One of them, you can't help but like what you see because they haven't lost a basketball game yet, and that's the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are up to 7th at KenPom. They're 9-0, and up until Thanksgiving Day, the only team in the top 100 they'd played at KenPom was UCF, who was 61st. They beat them 105-93. But the thing with Vandy is they're just scoring all sorts of points. Their first 5 games, they were over 104 times. And the one they weren't, they got 92. In the 4 games since, 83, 89, 96, 80. I mean, it's crazy what they're doing. Vandy is 2nd in the nation in offensive efficiency. Mark Byington's club is. They're number 1 in offensive block rate. They're number 2 in offensive steal rate. They're 6th in the nation in effective field goal percentage. They're 5th in the nation at turnover percentage, like low version of that. Like, this offense for Vandy is absolutely going wild. But the good news is, even though they haven't played a lot of great teams, their last 3 games, it's not like elite level blue blood type programs, but they're all top 50 at KenPom. VCU, who's 42nd, they beat them 89-74. That's by 15. And then St. Mary's on Black Friday, who's 34th at KenPom, beat them 96-71. My goodness, that's 25 points. And then SMU on Wednesday night. SMU tried to make some pushes, never really could. 88-69. I mean, was a 19-point win. Vandy is just doing it. And the thing for them, they've got a couple games of notoriety before SEC play starts, but nothing they can't handle. They play Central Arkansas, gonna obliterate them. Memphis and Wake, that's the 2 hardest games before SEC play, but that's when it's gonna get real. And so I'm excited and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Vandy, but I'm kind of like holding it cautiously until we get to SEC play, because I think it's legit. And I want it to be legit. Like, I think it's fun when Vandy's good, but we'll see. Duke Miles leading the way, 18 points a game. Tyler Tanner, 15. Tyler Nickel, 13.5. Devin McLaughlin, 11. When Devin McLaughlin's the 4th leading scorer on your team, you're feeling really good about where you're at. So there you go. Nice stuff from Vandy. The other team I want to talk about from the ACC is another V team, and that's the Virginia Cavaliers under first-year head coach Ryan Odom. These guys are now 7-1 after beating Texas in Austin 88-69. That's literally the same score. Oh, by the way, I just thought about that, as Vandy SMU, another 19-point win. Their lone loss on the season is to Butler on a neutral. And I think if this was last year, we'd hear that and we'd be like, you lost to Butler. Butler's been playing okay, but for Virginia, it's still just waiting to see what they're going to be. And I think the thing you need, if you haven't watched the Ryan Odom Cavaliers yet, this is not Tony Bennett. This is not a defensive first team. This is an offensive first team. So you need to go ahead and prepare yourself for that right now. They're second in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. So they're going to get the ball up on the rim and they're going to do it. Tyster Ritter is so fun, man. I love this dude. It's just going to be interesting to see how Virginia develops in year one, how they do in the ACC. I think they got some possibilities, but man, I mean, Texas had nothing for them. And so a really fun matchup in the middle with Texas and Virginia there. I'm really encouraged to see that and everything it brought to the table. So yeah, I mean, gosh, lots of fun there. Now, elsewhere in this event, the other games, you had Mississippi State winning at Georgia Tech. The Cowboys win that one 85-73. That score doesn't really represent how big a gap this was. LSU and BC, the most exciting game of the event. I actually joked about that on a show earlier this week. Funny thing was that game actually went to overtime. BC probably should have won it. They lose, and then in overtime, they end up losing by 9. Woof. And so, the ACC had their chances today. BC should have won that basketball game. Clemson had a lead in the final 3 minutes of the game and couldn't pull it off. And so if you're the ACC, I mean, it's a contrived event. Who cares ultimately? But the ACC had their shots. And that's what I'm really curious to see is what is the narrative? What is the storyline? Because it's obviously not like, oh, the ACC is clearly better than the SEC now, but they're holding their own. And, it was 9-7. So again, a lot closer and it's matchup based. But I do think we're seeing a much, much better ACC than we saw last year. And that's a good thing for them. And curious to see how dominant the SEC can be, both in the rest of non-con play and once they get into conference play. Now, we do want to switch, though, from the ACC and SEC to talking about the Big Ten. They had a couple conference games last night and 3 more tonight, Wednesday, or yesterday, if you're listening to this on Thursday. So I want to get to the first kind of upset there, and we'll get you caught up on the game that's going on right now in real time as we record and as we podcast, and we'll do all that coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. The holidays always feel a little bit easier when you already know what's going on there with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And I'm realizing in real time, I actually forgot to pull up my FanDuel read, guys. I'm so sorry, and I apologize, and don't be mad at me, but I'm getting it right now. There we go. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and the money lines adjust instantly. Player props, they update as guys heat up. You can bet on who's going to score the next touchdown or the result of this drive or the game total. Whatever it is, it keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. We just talked about the ACC. How about some ACC regular season championship odds? Duke leads the way at +120. Followed by Louisville at +180. Clemson and North Carolina tied for third at +1,200 in the odds. And then NC State fifth at +1,300. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so, friends, can you. All right, so we get now to some Big Ten action, and we got to start, you guys, in the barn. The barn at Minnesota. Really, really good stuff here for the Golden Gophers. You got two brand new Big Ten coaches squaring off. You got Niko Medved of Golden State of Minnesota, and then you've got Darren DeVries of the 22nd ranked and previously undefeated Indiana Hoosiers. But you don't just come into the barn and think you're going to take care of the hay, do you? No, sirree, Bob. The Gophers win 73-64. It is the first big win of the Niko Medved era, and boy, did they need it. Kind of a tough start to the season here for Minnesota. They came into this game 4-4 overall. They had lost to Missouri, totally understandable. Stanford, all right, fine. But also Santa Clara and San Francisco, a couple West Coast Conference teams. So it's like, it's just going to be a building year here for Minnesota. They got a few nice pieces. But boy, did they take care of work here at home against Indiana, who, again, had moved into the AP Top 25, who was previously unbeaten. And Niko Medved said, nah, I got you, Darren DeVries. And he hands him an 0-1 record in his first year in the Big Ten. By the way, but Ben McCollum, first-year coach in the Big Ten, lost yesterday. So here's what probably the biggest deal in this game was to me, is that Minnesota had some dudes that scored, but it was about their toughness on the defensive side of the ball, and in particular, how they handled Tucker DeVries, Coach DeVries' son. Langston Reynolds was a dude, did a great job, a phenomenal job on slowing down Tucker DeVries. He's one of those guys, you're not going to completely shut him out. He still had 9 points, but he needed 13 shots to get there. 3 of 13 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3, and DeVries added 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal. But if you hold Tucker DeVries to 9 points and make him take 13 shots to do it, you, sir or madam, have won at life and have won at basketball. And that's exactly what Minnesota did. And again, that was in my mind, the factor in this game. The Minnesota Golden Gophers were tough. And not that Indiana wasn't. It's just that Minnesota did it more. Now, Indiana was up 43-40 in this game. And from there, the Gophers go on a 13-2 run. They take a 53-45 lead with just under 9.5 to go. They ultimately just kind of hold on and win out down the stretch to get this 9-point victory. Really, really nice stuff. And that's got to feel good for Niko Medved coming over from Colorado State. As for the Gophers, they had 5 players, their entire starting lineup in double figures, led by Cade Tyson and Langston Reynolds, doing it on both ends of the floor with 17 each. The one potential issue, though, for Minnesota, only 1 bench point in this game. They're going to need more from that unit if they want to compete at all in the Big Ten this year. We don't necessarily expect them to, but they won this game. So we'll see moving forward. The other 2 games in the Big Ten, Northwestern at Wisconsin. The Badgers win this thing 85-23 and 85-23. Boy, that was a blowout. 85-73. Let me get my score right there, winning by 12. This is another game where it's like, I don't feel like the final score was representative of just how handily Wisconsin actually won this basketball game. You had 26 from John Blackwell. You had 20 from Boyd. And there it is. It's kind of similar to what we talked about just a little bit ago with Auburn and what they did. But John Blackwell, 26 on 8 of 18, 5 of 10 from 3, 5 of 5 at the free throw line. It's a double-double, 26 and 11. My word. Like, with John Tonje leaving, you need somebody to step in and have games like this. And that's what he did. The question is going to be, how consistently can John Blackwell and Boyd, how often can they combine to turn in those kind of performances? Now, the final Big Ten game of the night going on as we speak here, UCLA up 78-71 with 1:48. Looks like Hannes Steinbach is at the line shooting some free throws. Lane violation on UCLA, but the free throw goes down. Here's the crazy thing. The big man, Steinbach and Tyler Bilodeau, they were dominating early in the second half. I've not been able to pay attention, obviously, as we've been podcasting here. But as it sits right now, Sky Clark has 22. Tyler Bilodeau has 21. There was a stretch where Bilodeau had 16 straight for UCLA. Crazy stuff there. Steinbach right now is sitting. You ready for this? Holy smokes. Listen to this line. 29 points on 11 of 12 from the field. That's crazy talk. 7 of 8 at the free throw line. He's got 8 rebounds, 3 assists, just 1 turnover. If you have yet to see him play, friends, you are missing out. Holy cow. Washington on a 14-2 run right now. They've pulled within 4. UCLA ball, a minute 7 to go. Crazy, crazy stuff. So, for UCLA, it's been a less than awesome start to this season, which is a bummer for me because I really believed in them and shouted them out. Now, they've only lost twice, but when you've played 7 games, losing twice is like, especially, one of those losses is to Arizona. You can live with that. Arizona is a really, really good basketball team. But the other loss is to Cal. And it's like, I would much rather we had not lost a basketball game to the Cal Bears, right? That's what it is. And the other thing is, remember, UCLA is basically staying out on the West Coast. So we just don't know too terribly much about who they are yet because the 2 best teams they've played, Arizona and Cal, they've lost to. So this is going to tell us something. How are they going to do on the road here? Can they hold out against Washington on the road? Then they've got Oregon at home coming up on Saturday. And then the next Saturday is Gonzaga. So we are going to learn more over the course of these next 3 games. But with UCLA's, let's be honest, not good non-con slate, it's hard to know because outside of Gonzaga, it's like, no. Arizona, I'd take that back. The Arizona game, but they lose that game by 4, but then they lose to Cal. So I just don't know what to make of UCLA. I really like the components of this team. I just want to see it come together. All right, you guys. That's it for tonight. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to let you go watch the end of this UCLA-Washington game. I'm going to go do the same. We'll see if there's a miracle in store for the Huskies tonight. Thanks so much for being with me. And if you're watching or listening back to this later on, thanks so much for checking us out as well. Andy and I will be back on Friday to preview the weekend ahead and everything going on. So make sure you tune in for that as well. For now, though, I want to say apologies to the Lawyer family. Cheers to the Wild Pope. Shouts to the McBruins as they're playing in real time here. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.